Do you ever wonder how some people can just play so easily all over the fretboard? Do you want to do that too? Well, today I'm going to show you how to do that with no theory whatsoever. And bonus, it'll help you develop your ears too. You know, when I was back in high school, I know it was a long time ago, and I was just a fledgling guitarist, a buddy showed me what I thought was the holy grail of guitar soloing. It was this pattern. That's right, the old pentatonic box. And for about 2 weeks, I thought that's all I needed to play just about anything. But that feeling didn't last very long. Maybe it was when I saw The Song Remains the Same, or maybe it was Yes songs. I saw and heard Jimmy Page, Steve Howe, and others playing all over the neck. I wanted to do that too, but how? The usual method is to memorize scale patterns, like the 5 pentatonic patterns shown here. In theory, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're like me, you hate pure memorization. And let's face it, there's a lot of notes there just for a single key, so it's going to take a long time. So I'm not saying don't do that, but there are other ways of learning the fretboard too, and one of those ways doesn't require any theory and it works really fast. I'm not kidding, this is 100% legit and it's very musical too. I call this the lick method, and maybe its only drawback is that you're definitely going to play a few wrong notes when you practice this. But if you're not afraid of that and you're an explorer on the guitar, this is going to work great. So let's get into it. Make sure you stay till the end because I have some real surprises in store for you. This is super simple. It all begins with a lick. Now you can use any lick, but here's the lick we're going to use today as a demo. Now slowly, let's do it slowly so you can learn it. Now, what you need to know for this is just where the starting point is. So it starts here on a G, on a D string 5th fret. Now here's the crux of the method. We're going to take this and we're going to figure out where to play it starting with that G note. So we have to find another G. Now if you already know the notes on the fretboard, you're done. This is really simple. If you know the octave trick, for example, you know that there's another G right there. If you don't, however, don't despair, because what we're going to do is we're going to do this by ear, and here's where you're going to make mistakes, right? So let's start on a string that's lower in pitch, which would be a thicker string, right? So if we do that, we hit that note and we listen for the tone as we slide up on the next string. And there it is right there on A10. That's also a G. So now we're going to play that same pattern and we're going to do it by ear. So we're going to make a mistake or two, that's okay. And that works. And you can continue this on the next string. So for example, this is the 5th string tone. You know that's a G. Now just keep going on the E string until you get to a G. See what I mean? So far, so simple. Now let's go in the opposite direction. There's a couple of little wrinkles, so you definitely want to check this out. Now as you're going to higher pitched strings, what happens is you've got to match a tone that's an octave higher. So for example, as we're going from the D string to the G string, we're going to match the tone up here. And you can hear it's not exactly the same, it's an octave up in pitch. The second wrinkle is that pesky B string. It's tuned differently than everything else, so be prepared to make mistakes when the B string is involved. Now, it's all shifted 1 fret. Knowing that intellectually is one thing, but being able to play it is quite another. And that's why this is a great exercise, because it helps you get through that. Anyway, just continue on these. And you'll know the fretboard pretty quickly. So that's the basics. Super easy, right? But something funny happens to you when you do this every day. First, this should be obvious, but because you're searching all over the fretboard and using your ears to navigate, your ears are going to improve. Same thing cannot be said when you're memorizing scale patterns. Second, and this is going to sound hokey, but it helps you bond with your guitar more. For example, when you bend, it sounds different on the G string than it does on the E string and on the A string. And it feels different too, right? Different tensions. We all know that intellectually, but doing it every day, it really helps you feel that, and that's always a good thing. Third, now I know people who have played for 40 years who insist they're never going to know the notes on the fretboard, it's just too hard. But when you do this, it's amazing how much better you'll know the notes on a fretboard, and you won't even be trying. It'll all happen organically. But while this method works great, it can work even better if you add just a touch of theory to it. And I mean just a touch. So if you really want to supercharge your fretboard understanding and confidence, click on this video. And spoiler alert, it's not about memorizing scale patterns. It's much easier. So check out this video. I'll see you in that video, and I'll see you on down the road.